Is what the school named after one of D.C.'s biggest jazz legends looked like. The famed Duke Ellington School of the Arts was impressive on the outside, but inside it was a mess. Bands were practicing on the football field, dancers were rehearsing in the hallways. Well, now the Arts Academy holds the dubious distinction as one of the most expensive renovations of a public school in the district. So how did we get here? And was it worth it? In tonight's Special Assignment Unit report, Delia Gonsalves takes a deeper dive to find out how taxpayers got stuck with $100 million in overruns.
Ellington is just one of the 115 schools that's part of the district's push to rebuild or modernize. Since 2006, 3 mayors, Adrian Fenty, Vincent Gray, and now Muriel Bowser, set aside money for the construction of these projects in the capital improvement budget. Tonight's Special Assignment Unit reports finds that the cost of these upgrades is sticking you, taxpayers, with a huge price tag.
I mean, it's my life.
This is Jory Holmes. He started acting at the age of 6.
Half a crown?
He's done Pippi Longstocking, performed in Enemy of the People, Shrek the Musical.
So for Mom Monica and Dad Jeffrey, it was a no-brainer to pay $1,200 a month to send Jory to the famed Duke Ellington School of the Arts. You see, the family lives in Prince George's County and must pay tuition to send their child to the D.C. specialty school.
We got an opportunity to see the video montage of the new building, and so we are excited.
And it is impressive.
So you can see the black and white that's actually replicated all around the school.
We got a chance to check out the new and improved school and a preview tour just weeks before students were set to start the new year.
These are what's necessary for the props. So here's a prop studio.
But that's when things got messy.
This project is $100 million over budget.
Here we are, being asked to increase it yet again.
The D.C. Council was slapped with a last-minute bill for $4.5 million. Extra money they never knew about or even planned on paying.
The time to draw that line in the sand is right here.
No one was happy, but they were in a bind. If the council did not approve the additional bill, school wouldn't open on time. So in the end, all of the council members, except Alyssa Silverman,
Please record me as voting no, Mr. Chairman,
voted to pay that $4.5 million for special flooring, acoustic wall treatments, and lighting upgrades. That's a lot of your tax dollars paying for the school's overcosts. But the city council, they've been here before.
It's been the case with all of the schools in our school modernization program.
Why? Well, let's go back. 3 years ago, the city broke ground to renovate the centuries-old school building that the Arts Academy moved into back in 1974. The building was falling apart. It didn't even have any of the modern classrooms, theaters, and studios that you expect in a performing arts academy. The construction budget was set at $71 million. Now get this, that 2012 budget more than doubled through the years by the time the remodel was complete. That's enough money to pay the annual salaries of nearly 1,300 D.C. public school teachers.
You know, we knew that it would cost a great deal more than that, but we never actually saw a budget.
You heard right. They never saw a budget. Peggy Cooper-Kafritz is the school's co-founder.
To completely grasp the difference between teaching a class where everyone has to have a tuba, you know, in addition to a book that they will understand.
Take a look at it now. Ellington, it's beautiful. And on the inside, wow, it is spectacular. With state-of-the-art studios, theaters, and labs, it's a crown jewel. But it's also considered the poster child of these ballooning construction costs with no end in sight. Now, these reports from the agency that takes a look at the budget says that there was no transparency, no accountability, and no basic financial management, not only for Duke Ellington, but many schools that have already been rebuilt.
We found some issues with the documentation, with the invoicing process, but the sort of bigger process issue, I think, really has to do with how the costs are determined.
A process D.C. Auditor and former City Council member Kathy Patterson says is backwards. It begins with an architectural design, followed by a wish list of community wants, and ends with the hiring of a contractor.
Who then comes back and says, okay, for everything you want, here's what it's going to cost. We don't bid on cost.
That means the city only finds out how much the project will cost once the work is well underway.
It's like a blank check.
Duke Ellington is not alone. In fact, the district has a track record of blowing its budget on school renovations. Take a look at where they start and where they end up. A July 2015 review by the D.C. auditor found that the total cost to modernize 5 high schools in the district exceeded their capital improvement budgets. At this point, after all you've seen, it probably comes as no surprise to hear that investigators say the agency in charge of these modernizations did a lousy job managing the project. Basically, too many high-paid people underperforming, and in the end, it costs you a lot.
We'll probably get close to $200 million on this school.
My concern is that when we spend more money on one project, it potentially means less dollars for the next project.
Meanwhile, Jory's parents say the elite art school is worth that extra money, though they sympathize with D.C. residents who are footing the bill.
Who's watching, who's monitoring, because we also have to be wise investors.
There are more than 20 D.C. public schools that are slated for renovation or rebuilding in the upcoming year. Our SAU team reached out to Mayor Bowser to talk to her about all of this extra money coming out of taxpayers' pockets to pay for these projects. We are still waiting to hear back. Delia Gonsalves, WUSA 9.